What's up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Profit Picks. If you are new, we do always start the show by being transparent. Yesterday, didn't do anything. Didn't have any WNBA games. Didn't have any show. Um, Monday, I should have bet. Should have gotten there with that Storm game over. That was easy. And it was another game that we talked about that I liked and didn't bet. So nothing on Monday and Tuesday. But I did start Wednesday morning off with a WTA winner. So I'll take that. Vino, good to be back with you. How's everything been on your end?
Things are good, Skee. I'm just looking here. Monday we left with no best bets, and I didn't have a play available. Or yes, I did have one play available at that time. Um, Wound up getting two from the same game. I played that Washington Golden State rematch. Tried Golden State first half as one of my plays. That did not work, but I also had Golden State team total over. That did work. So we wound up getting a split on the same game. No harm, no foul. It's pushed it to 5-2 in the W since last Thursday. So we'll look to close it out here because we're heading to All Star break, and this is our last day for a while with WNBA action to talk about.
Yeah, we have what, 6 games here to talk about for this last day. Won't be back until what is it, next Wednesday, I believe. So first game up here, Vino, we're going Mercury and Sparks. Opened up 1.5. Still sitting right there. Total did come down a little bit from 178.5 as low as 176. I think that's the lowest I see out there. Don't see anybody on the injury report for Phoenix. As far as Los Angeles, Williams' game time decision. Kelsey Plum looks like she's still out, and Cam Brink is available in this game. Mercury do have the rest advantage. Mercury also lost to the Sparks earlier this season. I can't remember what the score was, but they did lose. And this is the Sparks, who do have rest, but first game home from a road trip, so not the best of spots. And then to go on break tomorrow, I don't love that spot for the Sparks. Um, Mercury, they just have been so disappointing. It's tough to trust them, but I do think Mercury could get the win here. Any thoughts from you, Vino?
It's kind of an even matchup. Where Phoenix is concerned, it's been hard to gauge them all season long, Ski. They're so sporadic in what they do. Their record, obviously, straight up not good. They need wins. LA's been hanging in there without Kelsey Plum. That last back to back against Connecticut, you saw Phoenix play one really high scoring game and then come back and play one really low scoring game. So, like I say, even where total is concerned, it becomes difficult. If not for the situation, the spot that you spoke of, I would probably be on the Sparks here. I just feel like I trust their offense a little bit more at this point in time. Now, all that being said, Sammy Whitcomb is going to play today for Phoenix, and I always like Phoenix's offensive better when she's available. She wasn't available last game. We all know that Los Angeles doesn't play a ton of defense. And so, Phoenix has been exploited defensively, LA even worse. I don't know. I was kind of surprised that this game total came down. Maybe because of the start time. I'm not sure, at 12 o'clock Pacific, but we've seen these early games go over in some instances too. So I had a lot of conflicting arguments here, Ski, where I couldn't put together a list where I had enough, in the asset category to make a play side or total. If I had to, I think I would still, I'm going to say I would lean Sparks, but I don't have the conviction to bet them in this game.
All right, we're in agreement that we don't love that game that much. Lynx and Storm, we did just see this one the other day. I opened up -9, looks like 10.5. Total went up from 176.5 as high as 179. Injury report, I see Ezzy still out and King out for Minnesota. Fee making her debut. Good to see Fee back in the lineup. Yeah, we talked about this last time, Vino, and it was exactly like we talked about. The Lynx offense, a well-oiled machine. They're just not doing a whole lot on the defensive end lately. Storm, they're healthy right now, and you do have feedback on the other side, but still, I like the length, and I like the way Seattle's been playing lately. So I don't see why it doesn't go over again. Um, and I would probably take Seattle. I think Seattle can still keep it close. Maybe Fee is a little rusty offensively. Maybe she throws the rhythm off of whatever they had going. Either Storm or over. What do you think here?
All right, so you and I generally don't have polar opposite opinions on games, but I do like under here, and that's hard for me to say because I don't bet a ton of unders. But some reasons why. I mean, they did get the 206 the other night. I think we called that one. Now you get a game 2 days later, same two teams, but there were just a multitude of things that went right in that game to get it to 206. I mean, for Minnesota's, let's call them the core three without Collier, right? The Olivia Miles, Courtney Williams, and Kayla McBride. They go 30 of 53, shoot 57% from the field, 18 of 18 from the foul line. The rest of the team only scored 19 points. Those three scored 86 out of 105 points. Just not sure they can shoot that well again, Skee, in this game. Not sure they can score 86 points again in this game. The other side, I probably expect even more of a decrease. Seattle shot 50% from the field and 46.4 from three. Now you said, and we did talk about the other day, rightfully so, that Minnesota hasn't played a lot of D, but that's terrible D. That's just terrible because Seattle ranks 13th in offensive rating in the league. For them to shoot 50%, it just doesn't happen that often. They're number 12 in scoring points per game. They scored 101 in that one. They were well above their season averages in both. I guess, long story short, I'm trying to, or I could see this game having somewhat of a return to the norm where the offenses are concerned. Now, that would mean that if you got the 206 the other day and you're expecting it to stay less than 179 here, which is what you need it to be 178 or less. It's 28 points difference. I think Collier having her back may cause a little bit of disruption in the offense. She is on a minutes restriction, that's for sure. And we just talked about game time here. We saw Minnesota play LA last week during the daytime. Game was in Minnesota. And the first half was incredibly bad offensively. I think it was like 75 points at halftime. But when you're playing the Sparks, the second half can get to 100 points. Not so sure that if they have a bad first half here, that Seattle is the Sparks defensively or offensively and could force the game to go over. So I'm taking a shot here with under Skee. I did bet it at 178.5 before Nafisha Collier was ruled in. I think that kind of, there's reason to believe it could work to my favor if, in fact, the team is just getting accustomed to having her back in the lineup for this one game. So we'll see how it goes, but I kind of like under in that one.
A rare under for Mr. Veno. So going through some of these, George asked, how do you feel about Storm Team total over 84? Veno would not like that. I said I lean Storm and over, so I would like it. A little bit of a disagreement there. Werza asking, how do we feel about Malonga props? I think that's supposed to say or fam. Points or points rebounds. I just hate when they play these back-to-back games, and they're probably the focus is probably not to let them do what they just did last game. But I do think fam, they do need her to space the floor. She's gonna have opportunities to shoot, and Malonga is just a bad matchup problem. So I'd probably, I don't know, I'd probably go Malonga. Any thoughts from you on that one, Vino, or not really?
Yeah, well, interior play, Malonga, like you say, our fam spends a lot of time, shooting perimeter wise. So either they go or they don't. Where Malonga, you're going to get her near the rim, and you're right, she is a matchup problem for this team inside. Minnesota's had difficulty inside all season long. So I'd be with you. If I were to pick one or the other, I'd probably try some form of Malonga props.
This last one, any concerns with star players not playing all game going into All-Star break? Absolutely. I don't even think I need to add anything else. All right, we can keep going down the list here. Sky and Liberty. I see the opener listed here is 9.5. I see 7.5 currently pretty much everywhere. Total open 179. Looks like we'll call it 178.5. Still no Dejanay, no Skylar Diggins. For New York, Johannes looks like she's still game time. Fibic and Satu both out as well. Um, man, Vino, yeah, I did play Chicago Sky. I got plus 10.5. I forget when I played it. I think I might have played it on I either played it yesterday or I played it Monday. I forget, but I played it early, you know. And the thought is just, Liberty don't deserve to be laying really versus anybody. They're just not playing good enough. They're not healthy enough. Uh, and then when I look at this spot specifically, like it's their first game home from a road trip, right? And they finally ended their losing streak. Then they're gonna go for All-Star break. I just don't see it versus Sky team that's been really competitive, really since Skylar Diggins went out the lineup. Everybody else is playing hard and trying to play some defense. I take the Sky plus 10.5. I think they can still even cover 7.5. Any thoughts from you here, Vino?
Yeah, I'll go to the total in this game, Ski, because I'm not going to disagree with you on Sky Plus points here. They've been playing really well as of at least competitively well. They found a little something here with this group when they put Sydney Taylor in the starting lineup. I think it's helped quite a bit as far as their shooting is concerned. But if I go to the total here, Ski, let me just rattle off these numbers. And I'll say right up front what I think you ended with is probably the only concern I have about this game not making it over the total is the fact that New York is home off a 4-game road trip. But they still do need wins. They're 3-7 in their last 10. It's a team that needs wins. But let me go ahead and I've got an absolute page full of notes here. Sky 12-2, last 14 games over this number, 178.5. So they're 12-2 over this number. It's been pretty easy. They've had 3 days off, well rested. The last 20 games, the Sky are the number 2 pace team in the NBA. They're going to run at New York. Sky, the drawback to them is they can't play defense. They're 13th in points allowed per game. They're 12th in defensive rating. And I had made the comment the other day about the Liberty. When I watched them against the Fever, they look slow. Like the Fever had that third quarter where they just went berserk and were running. And then I watched the Liberty play Dallas, and they look slow again. Well, point pretty well taken statistically because the last 5 games, the Liberty is number 12 in defensive rating in the league. They're just not playing any defense. So you got a fast-paced Sky team scoring in the 90s all the time now against a team that's off a long road trip and not playing a lot of defense. I guess it supports your angle of playing the Sky plus points, but I think it also supports the angle of Sky scoring big in this game. Now, where the Liberty are concerned, how about this? The last 2 games they played against Dallas and Indiana, the third quarter, they scored 12 and 9 points. 12 and 9. Yeah, and the other 3 quarters, they got the 76 and 74. So they basically scored 85 and 86 points in those games, despite not even scoring in the third quarter. They've been scoring a lot, and it's without Satu. It's without Fibic. I think Marina has a chance to come back today. We'll see if she does. It would help. Ionescu has been terrible from 3 lately. She did heat up in that overtime the other game. But that 4-game road trip to Liberty, for everything negative I could say about them, I'll say this. They scored 83 at Dallas in regulation, 88 at Indiana, 91 at Toronto, 85 at Minnesota. 3 of those 4 teams are playoff teams, Dallas, Indiana, Minnesota. The Sky don't play any defense, so I don't know how New York can't find their way to 87 or 88 here. And I think there's just a lot of reasons to play this thing over, Ski. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know that the Sky totals have been adjusted enough as of yet, the way they're just going over numbers right now. And 178.5 seems like, Chicago gets to that all the time. I just said they're 12-2 over this number, last 14 games. So for me, I definitely agree with you on Sky's side, but I would take this game over as well, over 178.5.
Yeah, I can't really, argue too much against that. That Liberty though, I mean, I don't know what the hell they getting high at halftime or something. I don't know what they do
Yeah.
after that second quarter, but they just forget how to play basketball, or they're taking some bets or some money, or somebody needs to be investigated for the second half of these games on the New York side. I definitely did notice that as well. All right. Aces and Mystics opened up 6.5. Looks like six. Total opened up 162.5. Looks like 164.5. As far as injury report, Kirsten Bell and Yamamoto will not be available for Las Vegas. Nobody on the injury report for Washington. I mean, these situations like close to the All Star break. I mean, we just had the question, right? Can we trust the stars playing the whole game, hitting in the All Star? I worry about this spot for the Aces for that reason. Um, they could very well overlook this. And for Washington, they've been excellent as an underdog. They are what is that? They're 11-4 as an underdog. So it's hard to talk. Getting a few possessions at home. They'll be the better rebounding team. If the Aces come in, without full focus, Mystics can hang around in this game. I would lean towards the Mystics here. What do you think?
Well, I'll come at it from a different angle again, Ski, because of one of the things you talked about and a couple other things. I shortened this one up, and I like the Aces first half. They're -3.5 first half. If they do take it easy second half, maybe they do. Um, I think having Dana Evans back in this lineup is huge for them. She's got a couple games under her belt now. The productivity from the outside, Jewel Lloyd hasn't been that great shooting the basketball for a while now, but having Dana back helps Las Vegas off the bench with perimeter shooting and scoring. And like I say, with a couple games under her belt, I like their offense. They've had decent success against Washington. We just talked about New York coming off a 4-game trip. Washington played back-to-backs, as far west as you can go, except for Seattle, at Golden State, played one of the best defenses in the league and grinded out 2 wins, fly back home a day later, and have to play Las Vegas now at home. I'm not so sure that Washington comes out of the gates real quick here. I think Las Vegas will come out of the gates quick. And like the viewer mentioned earlier in the chat, maybe Becky decides to cut back on minutes in the second half. I don't think I'd want to lay it full game. And also, the reason why you don't want to lay it full game is simply because Washington's been good as a home dog. But I don't like the spot for Washington early. I do like it for Las Vegas early. So I thought winning by 4 points here in the first half, probably a good way to go. I like Las Vegas first half.
Good stuff. Last or no, not last. A couple more. Sun and Fever opened up 10. I see 10. Total open 177. 178 is what we'll call it right now. You have Brittany Griner and Sanaya Rivers, both game time decision. Aaliyah Edwards has been ruled out. Damaris Dantas is out for Indiana. Caitlin Clark is probable. Yeah, not a lot, but a couple big spreads here today. Indiana, what do I always say, I can't trust you to get stops. How can I lay this big of a number? And you're going into All-Star break. Who knows what the focus is going to be like for them? They got 3 players going to All-Star. Connecticut usually plays Indiana tough. I do think they can keep this one respectable. Don't love the injury report for Connecticut, but I do think they'll be the harder playing team. What do you think here, Vino?
Well, I think, like you, I don't like the injury report just because it's cluster injury, right? It's the whole interior. I mean, Edwards and Griner are basically your 2 best rebounders on this team. They're your interior forces. Now, Nelson Adota probably has to go alone. I know Anissa Morrow is off of the injury list. She hasn't played in a few games. So you do get her back. And remember back, I don't know what's happened here to the performance of Morrow, other than, Edwards came back at some point from injury. But to start the season,
Yeah, I remember.
Morrow was recording double doubles like crazy. And then she just fell off the face here, got relegated to the bench, not putting up numbers. Doesn't make a lot of sense, but she's got a chance to do that here again. I don't know that Connecticut's going to be able to stop Indiana from scoring. and there's just too many options. We talked about it, and then they a couple of games ago, and then they came out and scored over 100 on back-to-back nights. Um, the first one was a non-cover, but the second one was surprising to me when they absolutely blew out the Liberty with that big third quarter. It seems to me in watching them that offense is gaining some continuity at this point in time. But so much of it, when you go back and examine these games, so much of it depends on whether or not Aaliyah Boston plays or not. When she plays, they're a better defensive team. Not great, but they're better. When she doesn't play, they can't stop anybody. If you want to shorten it up, Connecticut's been a great first half team up until that last game where they played. They played two somewhere, and Phoenix played 1-1 in Phoenix, lost one in Phoenix. But their first half number, I believe, is 12-3, last 15. Indiana's a high-scoring team first half. There's a lot of ways to look at this one, Skee. To your point, I don't think one of the ways I would look at it is laying 10.5 with Indiana, no matter who's on the floor, because they're just not. I know they won big last game against the Liberty, but they're not trustworthy enough to lay 10.5 with. So, and Connecticut's playing with heart, if nothing else. We'll see how it goes, but I think there's ways to play this. I just haven't, landed on one yet.
All right, last game now. We have Wings and Fire. Opened up 5.5, still around there right now. Total opened up 173, and 175.5 is what we will call it. Nobody on the injury report for Portland. Alana Smith. See if we can get anything more than game time decision here. Yeah, they're both Alana Smith and Paige Beckers both questionable for tonight. I think this is a spot for Portland. I mean, with the rest advantage being at home, et cetera, et cetera. I just don't trust Portland. I don't really like this team. It's hard for me to trust them. When you talk about Dallas without Paige, though, I don't like that either. It's an ugly one for me, Vino. I think I'm gonna pass. What do you think here between the Wings and the Fire?
You know what happened the other day, Dallas without Paige? Enrique put up 24 shots. So somebody's going to be happy if Paige doesn't play. I think if we go way back to the beginning of the show and what you've said more than once, if you're looking at teams that might just play cautiously and say, you know what, we're not going to send Paige out there last game before the All-Star break. Let's give her, even though she's going to play All-Star game, but I think Dallas could very well rest her. They're probably better off resting Alana Smith again and just keeping these two healthy for the second half. I kind of look at it that way. And they do have enough offense, but I worry about their ball handling. Odyssey Sim's pretty good with the ball, veteran leadership and whatnot, but I do worry about their ball handling a little bit when Paige isn't on the floor. So this is a game that I immediately scratch, Skee. I just have the feeling, and obviously the injury report is not confirmed, but I have the feeling that Paige won't play here, that they will kind of be cautious. They probably think they can beat Portland without her. And Alana Smith hasn't played in like 4 straight games. Why throw her out there now? I don't think that's going to happen either. If anything, it could end up being, an up and down type of game, which I think Dallas got involved in their last game when Paige and Alana Smith didn't play. And like I say, if Enrique's going to put up 24 shots, good luck figuring out whether, 12 are going in or only 4 are going in. But if only 4 go in, you know what? Dallas isn't going to cover if she's has one of those shooting nights. So we'll see.
Yeah, maybe just go ahead and bet her points or something. She's going to get them shots up tonight if Paige is not out there on the court. Good stuff. That wraps up the WNBA card for Wednesday, a humongous WNBA card. And before we get out of here, let's do a little bit of promo. We do still have the usual 2-for-1, 3-day all access, both Rob Veno and myself. Comes out to $69, and you get both of us every single play that we make. I had a WTA winner this morning. Could have got that if you had this package. Veno, he caps other sports besides WNBA as well. If you say, I'm not rocking with Skee. I like that Veno guy over there. We can go buy 3, get 3 free for Veno. 6 days for just $69. So a couple different ways to get involved. And last but not least, I am going to put this up there for myself. I know the numbers change, but the promo is still live. If you buy the NBA early bird, you get the rest of WNBA for free. You see NBA a little bit over 100 units this previous season. WNBA, we're doing our job so far as well. And 5% plays. I did win my last one. So 15 and 5 the last 2 seasons on 5% plays in general. I've won 10 of my last 11 5% plays, and I have one tonight. So all included if you guys did want to get that. Vino, gonna pass it to you. If there's anything else you'd like to promote, feel free. And if you have a best bet for the show, we'd love to hear it. If you don't, no worries.
Let me just say that generally, when you run those promos, I don't really stare at numbers. But I'm going to say this as somebody who was number one at Wager Talk in WNBA back to back seasons, I think 2020 and 2021, I was number one in the company. To look at that graphic of yours up there and see plus 126 units in one season. And I was tops in the company twice, and I don't remember being 126. I had good years, but that's a lot. So for those looking to purchase long term, obviously I would endorse that. The other two, like I always say, 6 days for three, especially when weekend time is rolling around and the CFL does come back into play tomorrow. You're going to get CFL this weekend, especially with the lack of WNBA. So any of those three packages, I would stand behind. Skee, I'll leave a best bet for everybody as we go into break here. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but I think the Sky Liberty game is going to get over. Until the Sky shows me something different offensively and defensively, I'm just going to keep riding the train and betting them over. If you've done it 14 games in a row, you've won 12 of them. I don't see these numbers increasing drastically with them. And if nothing else, the Liberty's been still scoring points. They just can't defend right now. So I'm going to go that route. Chicago Sky, New York Liberty over 178.5 is my best bet.
Good stuff from Vino. For myself, I've only made two bets today. One of them is a 5% play, and the other one, the line moved. So I'm rolling with that one. Same game. I did bet the Sky plus 10.5. So when I grade it, that's the number it'll be graded at. But I still believe even at 7.5, like the Liberty just don't deserve to be laying points, really, the way that they've been playing lately. And as unhealthy as they are. So Chicago Sky will be my best bet for the show. That'll wrap it up for us, Vino. So we will not be back here until next Wednesday, I believe. So best of luck on all your action and enjoy your time off the show, Vino. Everybody in the chat, good luck with everything you guys have going until next Wednesday, and we will catch you all then.